The most disruptive EV of the decade isn't from Tesla or BYD or even Toyota. It's from a tiny garage in Hiroshima. It costs just $7,000. It's called the MiBot, and it's flipping the auto industry upside down. It's a car so small it fits in your hallway, so cheap you could buy 3 of them for the price of a Nissan Leaf, and so smart it updates itself over Wi-Fi. But the craziest part, it was built by a YouTuber. No, seriously, Kazunari Kusunoki, known online as Kussun, used to tinker with old scooters on his YouTube channel. Not for fame, just to fix things. But somewhere in that cramped Hiroshima garage, he sparked an idea that's now shaking the global EV industry. Because one day, Kussun asked a question no one else seemed to be asking. What if a car could be much smaller? And what if it was electric, ultra cheap, and just enough to get you where you need to go? No fluff, no flex, just pure function. Fast forward to today, and that question became a $7,000 electric car called the Maybot. It looks like a love child between a Polaroid camera and a sci-fi go-kart. Basically, if WALL-E and a rice cooker had a baby, it'd be this. But don't laugh. In Japan, it's now outselling some of Toyota's EVs. Let that sink in. But let's zoom out for a second. Here's what you need to know. Before Maybot, KG Motors tried out smaller projects. The KG1, a 2-seater EV, and the KG Glide, a scooter-like ride. These early experiments weren't blockbusters, but they helped the team learn how to build affordably and design simple, efficient drivetrains. Think of them as test runs that made Maybot possible. In a way, Maybot stands on the shoulders of these prototypes. While Tesla and BYD chased bigger batteries and flashier screens, Kussun was watching elderly drivers struggle on narrow rural roads in oversized cars. That's when it clicked. Maybe the future of EVs was smaller, not bigger. So he built one, a single-seater, 2.49 meters long, 1.13 meters wide, about the size of a fridge on wheels. He called it MiBot, short for Mini Mobility Robot, and it only seats 1. Because honestly, how many people are in your car most of the time? And here's where things started moving fast. Development moved fast. From initial sketch to first prototype, it took just under 12 months. Early footage of test drives was posted straight to YouTube, raw, unedited, transparent. One clip showed the Maybot climbing a hill in Hiroshima. Another showed a crash test into a stack of barrels. Each video built public trust. This wasn't vaporware, it was happening. But let's not pretend it was all smooth sailing. Battery sourcing was a nightmare in the beginning. Supply chain disruptions meant they had to switch vendors mid-prototype. Regulations were another hurdle. Getting a vehicle approved under Japan's mini-car rules required back and forth with local agencies and several design revisions. And many traditional investors, they passed. Too weird, too niche, too risky. Still, Maybot kept going, and real people began to take notice. One woman in Nagoya bought the Maybot for her father, who lost his license due to vision issues. Now he can visit the park again, she said. A Tokyo student said he charges it overnight, parks in a hallway, and never worries about gas again. Despite its size, the Maybot represents something bigger. It questions the assumption that more is better, that we need 300 horsepower to buy milk. It says maybe you don't need a car that can survive a desert war zone. Maybe you just need one that fits your life. And if you think that's bold, just wait. But it gets crazier. Despite its toy-like appearance, Maybot is packed with real tech. A 7.68 kilowatt-hour LFP battery gives it around 100 kilometers of range. That's roughly 62 miles, which may not sound like a lot, but for quick city errands and short commutes, it's more than enough. Top speed, 60 kilometers per hour, or 37 miles per hour. So no, you're not taking it on the highway. But around town, it's perfect. And you know what also would be perfect? If you hit subscribe right now. Now, for Maybot, you don't even need special charging gear. Plug it into a regular 100-volt household socket, and it's full in 5 hours. And wait till you hear this. The battery is LFP, lithium iron phosphate. It's cheaper, safer, and longer lasting than traditional lithium ion. Less prone to fire and more charge cycles before it degrades. It's the same chemistry some major EV makers are just now pivoting toward. KG Motors got there first and used it to bring costs down without cutting corners. Now, let's talk interior. The inside is surprisingly slick. It's like IKEA and Elon Musk collaborated after 3 cups of matcha. Heated seat, digital dash, touchscreen, air conditioning, even over-the-air updates in a $7,000 car. That's not just clever, that's borderline witchcraft. And that $7,000 is before subsidies. In Japan, you might pay even less if local EV incentives apply. For comparison, the Nissan Sakura, Japan's top-selling small EV, starts at about $18,000. The MiBot is less than half that. And don't forget, total ownership costs are lower too. We're talking less insurance, no shaken inspections, and incredibly low electricity costs. Charging it might cost just 100 yen for a full battery. Let's paint a scene. You wake up in a high-rise in Osaka. Birds chirp, your neighbor's cat stares at you with judgment, and your MiBot, yep, your car, is waiting downstairs like a loyal droid. Elevator down to street level, your MiBot is waiting, parked in a spot barely wider than a bicycle rack. You climb in, hit the button, and it hums to life. No engine noise, just smooth glide. You zip down side streets, squeeze through alleyways where vans fear to tread. Grocery run, done. Back home, parked again, in minutes. That's the future KG Motors is selling, and people are buying. But here's where it gets wild. KG Motors opened pre-orders in August. Within a month, over 1,000 reservations. By spring, 3,000 plus. That's more than Toyota sold EVs in Japan all last year. All from a startup led by a YouTuber. You thought that was big? Try this. Japan's strict car laws normally require proof of parking before you can register a vehicle, but not the Maybot. It's classified as a motorized mini car. That means no shaken inspections, cheap insurance, no parking certificate. It's basically a car with the legal perks of a scooter. And the public? They didn't just like it, they went nuts. Reddit blew up. Japanese Twitter turned it into a meme. YouTubers loaded it into vans just to show how small it was. One guy called it the honey I shrunk the EV. And get this, the Maybot isn't a car for everyone. It's a car for errands, for independence, for the elderly in the countryside, and the city dweller without a driveway. It's not a flex, it's a fix. And what about the competition? Honda's scrambling to develop their own tiny EV. Nissan's dusting off old designs. Even Suzuki and Daihatsu are paying attention now. The Maybot just created a market that didn't exist. Let's go even further. Comparisons. Everyone's talking about the Citroën Ami in Europe. Another quirky, tiny EV that's become popular in France. But the Ami's top speed is just 28 miles per hour. And it has a smaller battery with less range. It's also more expensive once you factor in features. Then there's China's Wuling Mini EV, which has taken over parts of Asia. It's cheap, but its safety standards and quality control don't quite match Japan's. And the Bajaj Cute? More like a covered tuk-tuk in a proper EV. Bottom line, the MiBot isn't just a toy. It's road-tested, crash-tested. It's built to real safety standards with a reinforced frame and seatbelts. When you compare it side by side, MiBot wins on safety, comfort, and tech without losing that dirt-cheap price tag. And here's something clever. KG Motors isn't trying to be massive. They built a new factory in Hiroshima, capable of scaling up to 100,000 units a year. But they're starting small, just 300 deliveries the first year, each one nearly hand-built. No rush, just precision. Inside the factory, it's not high-tech robots. It's real people with gloves and torque wrenches. Kussun himself has been spotted tightening bolts. The early production run feels more like a watchmaker's workshop than a car plant. And that's the point. They're focused on quality, not volume. Each unit gets built with care. Still, factory's ready. They've partnered with Kelex for body production. They've designed the MiBot to meet Japanese safety standards. They've even crash tested it into a wall, and it held up shockingly well. Footage of the test shows the MiBot's cabin holding strong as the crumple zones absorb the hit. It's a tiny car, but it's not a tin can. And let me tell you, that legal classification, it's a game changer. Most cars in Japan need to pass shaken inspection every 2 years. Expensive, time-consuming, not MiBot. It's exempt, no shaken, no proof of parking. Even the insurance is low because it qualifies under moped-style coverage. It's the only EV where your total cost of ownership feels like you're insuring a bike. People are now comparing monthly costs for MiBot versus scooters. And guess what? For less than what some pay to maintain an old K car, you get a heated seat, OTA updates, and a safer ride. That's not just budget-friendly, that's system hacking brilliance. Here's something else that sets it apart. KG Motors is working on an app. That's right, a dedicated MiBot smartphone app that will let you check battery status, control the heater or AC remotely, and eventually unlock more digital features. They're also rolling out OTA updates. That means your $7,000 car could actually get better with time, not worse. But here's where it really shows off its brilliance: simplicity. The MiBot has fewer moving parts than just about any other vehicle on the road. No complicated infotainment stack, no power sliding doors, no redundant systems, and that's by design. Fewer parts mean fewer failures. Maintenance becomes a breeze. You don't take it to a mechanic, you recharge it, wipe it down, and keep rolling. In an age where cars are becoming computers on wheels, the MiBot feels refreshingly appliance-like, predictable, smart by being simple. And that simplicity extends to the driving experience. The MiBot's central seat gives you a cockpit-like feel. With its panoramic windshield and lightweight steering, it feels more like piloting a personal droid than driving a car. There's no engine noise, just the subtle whir of electric torque and tires on pavement. It's zippy, responsive, and a little addictive. People who test drove it said it reminded them of go-kart, but smoother and quieter. One guy said it was like driving a Roomba with a license plate, in the best way possible. One even called it the most fun I've had under 40 kilometers per hour. So what went wrong with the others? Years ago, Nissan and Honda flirted with super compact electric prototypes, like the Nissan New Mobility concept. But they never took off. Why? Too expensive, not road legal, or just weird looking. The MiBot succeeds because it's street legal, practical, and emotionally appealing. Of course, critics are lining up. They say it's too small, too slow, too toy-like. That's the point. The MiBot isn't pretending to be a car. It's a tool, a local mobility solution. And every criticism, from lack of speed to minimal range, is actually what makes it perfect for the job it's meant to do. Could it work in the US? With some tweaks, maybe, especially in cities like New York, Austin, or San Francisco. Add slightly thicker bumpers and reinforced crash structure, it could become America's new favorite city runabout. Zooming out, Japan's population is aging fast. Nearly 30% of the population is over 65. Traditional cars are becoming too big, too complicated, too risky. The MiBot isn't just a car, it's elder tech. It's dignity on wheels. Even overseas, people are taking notice. Tech YouTubers from Germany to California are talking about it. Reddit threads speculate on how to import one. Journalists are calling it the iPhone moment for micro EVs. And it all started in a garage with a camera and a dream. Because here's the thing no one saw coming. This wasn't built by a car company. It was built by a guy with a camera, a garage, and a problem he wanted to solve.